So, I wanted to tell you a little story. I'm going to take you on a little journey. And there's actually a hidden theme in here, so listen out for it. I hope you get it. I always wanted to write a book. I wasn't sure what about, but I just had this idea that I wanted to write a book. And I actually stuck a post-it note on my vision board, like way back in 2014, which simply said, "Write a book someday." And that was it. And that post-it note stayed there for many years. And it actually wasn't until, well, exactly this time last year, that I decided to take that post-it note down and upgrade it. So what I did was I went on Google and I found an image of a girl holding a book, I think at her own book launch, and I photoshopped my name and the title of my book onto the cover of the book that she was holding. And the title of the book I put was Undressing It. But things didn't quite go, I guess, as I thought they might. So my first real experience of writing was when I started a blog, and that blog was called Undressing It. And it was a rather introspective one, and it was fueled by a hell of a lot of wine. And I learned a lot about myself from this blog, and it was actually an excellent exercise in vulnerability, because by plonking my deepest, darkest thoughts quite publicly on the internet, I actually had no choice but to own them. But the main problem with this blog was it wasn't providing or presenting solutions, and I was plain and simply putting myself in like full-on victim mode, which is a ridiculously powerless place to put yourself, and something I then realised I've been doing for some time. So, and also actually the more I dug around my mind for content for this blog, the more cans of worms I opened. So I decided to stop writing. But by this point, I was actually starting to see how I truly saw myself and how I truly saw the things around me. And this was in stark contrast to this happy persona that I was putting out there each day. So, feeling really stuck, mega frustrated and confused, I didn't really know how to kind of move forward or, with these revelations. And so I decided there was one thing for it, and I turned to my two longest standing friends, control and addiction. And I signed myself up for a bikini competition. Now, I knew my self-image was in tatters, but I just still wasn't getting it. I desperately wanted someone else to tell me that I was okay, and I desperately wanted to prove to myself that I was okay. And so, once again, I left the fate of my self-worth and my self-image in the hands of other people. And this time, I chose to put it in the hands of a judging panel of strangers. And, well, I learned a lot about myself through this show. And actually, as distractions go, it was the best one I've ever come up with. Because with this one distraction, I managed to remove every other crutch and distraction I had used over the years. So I couldn't stuff my feelings down with food. I couldn't change my state with alcohol. I couldn't even busy myself with excessive spin classes or excessively going to the gym. And so, for what felt like weeks on end, it was just me. And yeah, just as I was, unfiltered. And it was then that I started to see the root cause of pretty much everything that was bothering me. Now, I've been a hair and makeup artist for over a decade now, and I love the work that I do. I love the people that I work with, I love making people feel amazing, and I just love connecting with people. But it still saddens me when nearly every single woman that sits in my makeup chair and looks at herself in the mirror immediately apologizes for the way that she looks and who that she is. I wanted to just write a book to bust all these kind of myths open. You know, there's so much clever wording, clever marketing out there from the beauty industry. And it dawned on me that actually I was sick and tired of being part of an industry that is so invested in our lack of self-worth. And the beauty industry makes its money or makes its business from constantly telling us that we are not good enough as we are. So as for these, you know, buzzwords and marketing sort of tactics and phrases, like, you know, cruelty-free, for instance. I mean, every ingredient known to man has at some point been tested on animals. Even water has been tested on animals, and it's used in like the production of everything. I wanted to just bust all this open, show how we are being led, how we are being influenced into purchasing things that we just don't need. And actually, how like a drug, they get us hooked so we need to buy more. And how our self-esteem and our confidence is being chipped at to ensure that we do. I've grown tired of switching focus. I want to make lasting change, not provide, you know, more quick fixes or temporary solutions. And for this, we need awareness, because we need self-awareness, because it can't come from anyone or anything else. And so the book is really a transformation of me, what I stood for and what I now represent. And so I found that the title pretty much changed on its own, from Undressing It to No Filter Needed. It represents the truth about us. It represents the truth about our bodies, and it represents the truth about our beauty. You know, I've transformed myself many times over the years, from a chubby kid at school to a bulimic teenager going through grunge and gothic phases, right up until just a couple of years ago, you know, a 30-year-old with ridiculously low body fat on stage for a bikini competition. And none of those things changed how I truly felt on the inside. And none of those things fixed me like I hoped they would. And so none of it was necessary. So I hope with this book, I managed to change your perceptions, you know, shake up some neural pathways that mainly get you to realize that the power is all within you to feel amazing about yourself without the aid of anything else. You know, we're all so amazingly unique. We have wonderful, quirky ways. We should be owning all of that. You know, going out there and just showcasing it to the world, not looking for things to try and hide it. And so, well, I mean, the book itself was a hugely cathartic process in writing it. But as I got so much from writing it, I just truly hope that you guys who read it get a lot out of it too. And oh, in case you missed it, the theme is everyone is enough. As they are, no filter is needed.